Hello everybody, my name is Captain Canada and welcome back to another Elder Scrolls V Skyrim video. In this video, it's going to be another mod review, very similar to the Winstead Mine mod review that I did. This one may be slightly longer, slightly shorter, we'll see. But I will tell you this, it is going to be a little bit different in the sense that this is going to be a multi-mod review video because this video is going to incorporate multiple mods into one video instead of just one big giant mod into a single longer video. And the basis of this video is going to be some weapon and armor mod packs that I find to be some of my favorites in terms of both, like usefulness, like damage resistance and damage, along with the aesthetics of them. I just think they look pretty cool. This video, however, is only going to go over newly added weapons and armors. This isn't going to be a video covering like things like retextures, so like things from like immersive weapons and armor, or like the Legion retexture armor, stuff like that. This is going to be things that are strictly brand new that were added in. And we're going to do this video in two parts. First part is going to be showing the stuff that can be crafted. Second part is going to be showing the things that can only be acquired by actually going out into the world and collecting them. So let's get started with this video here. First weapon and armor set we are going to be going over is going to be the Bosmer armor pack. Now this one here, let me get into here and I'll show you. This armor has overall there are 4 unique different sets of Bosmer armor. We have right here the basic, which is light armor. We have the elder armor, which is also light armor. We have the Bosmer Reinforced, which is heavy, along with the capes and masks. Those are the ones that can be crafted, and also there's also an optional mod file that you can download that gives you the Bosmer Elder Shadow armor, which is basically if you like want to make yourself look like even more of a cool sneaky character. It's basically just the Bosmer Elder armor from this pack, but everything is now in black and gray instead of brown and black. Now, first things first, we're going to go over the requirements that you are going to need for these, because these do require certain smithing perks. The basic Bosmer armor here requires you to have the Elven smithing. The Bosmer Elder armor requires you to have glass smithing, and then the reinforced armor down here requires you to have the advanced smithing perk. Whereas the 4th set that we're going to be going over doesn't require you to have any smithing perks at all, simply because you don't craft it. You can go out and find it in the world. However, while you don't need a perk to craft it, you will need a specific perk to upgrade it, and that is going to be the dragon smithing perk you get at 100 smithing, simply because the last armor set is equivalent to dragon armor. Now, let's get into crafting all of these here. I'm actually just going to do that real quick off screen, gather the materials that I need to smith these, and then come back after I have smithed all of them. Okay everybody, I am back. I now have all the items crafted that you can craft. So let's start getting into the review here. In this review, I'm going to show you what it looks like and then give you what the basic stats of it are. That's what the basic stats of it are. And by basic, I mean if your corresponding skills are set down to 15, because that's what the default is. So keep in mind, whenever you make it, it may look a little bit different, but what I'm giving you is the baseline stats of your skill is a default 15. So getting into it, first of all, we're going to start off with the Bosmer stuff, like I said. So here we have, we're going to start off with the arrows. Here we have the basic Bosmer arrows. This is what they look like. They have a cool looking black and brown quiver with a black and brown arrow design as well. Now these are going to do base damage of 16, so that puts them at pretty decent. I mean, not quite near the higher tier of arrows, but that's still a pretty decent amount of damage. And they have a value of 5, obviously a weight of 0, as all arrows do. Now the next arrows, we're going to do the Bosmer Elder arrows, which look, as you can see, the exact same as the normal Bosmer arrows do, but they come with 21 damage instead of 16, and they have a value of 15 instead of 5. And then next we're going to do the Bosmer Elder Shadow arrows, which are basically the same, as you can see, 21 damage, 15 value. Only difference being they're from the Shadow set, so as you can see, they are black and gray instead of black and brown. Now, moving on from the arrows, we might as well do the bows next. Here we have the basic Bosmer bow. Just looking at it, it might look like a standard hunting bow, but a main difference being, as you can see, there are some engravings along the shaft of the bow, and I think the leather wrapping in the middle might be slightly different too. You can see more of those engravings there. But anyway, yeah, it's basically just a hunting bow with some wood engravings. Its damage is 25, has a weight of 7, and a value of 50. So, I mean, with only an archery skill of 15, 25 is not that bad, honestly. Alright, and then next we go to the Elder Bow, which looks the same. I think the carvings might be slightly different, but I could be wrong. But other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same as the normal Bosmer bow in terms of appearance. But of course the difference comes in the stats, where it does 33 damage, has 7 weight, and a 50 value. Now we go to the Elder Bow. Same deal with the arrows. It's going to be the same stats as the normal Elder. The only difference being, once again, that it is black and gray instead of black and brown. So that's that. And then now we are going to move on from the arrows and bows to the bladed weapons that come with this armor pack. First off, we're going to start off with the basic Bosmer short blade here. As you can see, it's a cool looking little, like, I mean, technically it's classified as a dagger, but in all reality, it's basically a short sword. It's got that wooden handle there, shiny silver blade. Pretty cool looking design. But the basic Bosmer short blade starts off at 54 damage, has a 95 value, and only weighs 4. Then we go to the Bosmer Elder short blade. Looks exactly the same as the normal Bosmer blade. Only difference is a huge damage increase. Goes from 54 to 81, and the value is now 95 with a weight of 4, which is actually the same as the Bosmer short blade here. As you can see, it's just that the damage is higher. Then again, we go to the Shadow one. Again, same difference. Only difference being that this handle here, as you can see, instead of being brown, this handle is now gray. So that's all of the weapons. And you know what? Let me just equip all of these here, show you guys what they look like. So here on my back right there are the arrows. That's what they look like equipped. Well, if you have the belt fasten quiver mod, that is. If you don't, then they're just going to be on your back. But with this quiver mod, they're on my waist. That's what they look like. Here's what the bow looks like in third person when it's drawn. Then we go into first person. That's bash, that one I want to do. But yeah, there you go. As you can see, you can clearly see the engravings on the inside of the shaft of the bow there that signify its difference from a normal hunting bow in appearance. And then in terms of fire speed and whatnot, it's just basic firing speed. Now I'll show you what the Bosmer shadow stuff looks like. So we got the shadow bow, shadow arrows. Here's the shadow arrows on my quiver. Just look the same minus the color, obviously. Then here is the shadow bow. As you can see, it's black and gray, but other than that, it looks exactly the same. And a fun little perk with the Elder shadow arrows, actually, is that the Elder... I just went flying across the room, okay. Is that the Elder arrows here actually fire slightly faster than the normal arrows do. The Elder shadow, that is. Normal Elder arrows, slower speed, but the Elder shadow arrows actually can fire slightly faster. Now here we go over. Now I'll show you what the blades look like. I'll just use an Elder since they're basically the same. So here we go. In my left hand here, you can see I have the normal Bosmer blade. In my right hand is the shadow blade. You can see the difference: brown handle on the left, gray handle on the right. Other than that, they look the same. Here's what they look like in third person here when they're drawn. Looks pretty cool if you ask me. And they are daggers, so as you can see, they have a fast attack speed. And then also, if you use the power attacks, it will do the dagger power attack animation. So that, I believe, is all of the weapons. Now we're going to move on to the armor, starting off with the basic Bosmer. So here we go. The basic Bosmer armor right here is considered light armor, and as I said, you need the Elven Smithing perk to craft this set. But yes, here we go. The basic is light, has an armor rating of 31, a weight of 4, and a value of 500, which is not bad. And then here it is, what it looks like here. It's got this cool leather and cloth type design. So that's pretty cool looking armor if you ask me. Next, move on to the boots. The boots here, as you can see, actually look very, very similar to standard Thieves Guild boots, but they're not exactly the same, I don't believe. But there is that. They have a base armor rating of 9, a weight of 1, and a value of 100. Then next we have the basic Bosmer gloves. Same as the boots, armor 9, weight 1. And they look like Thieves Guild gloves, but they are different, I promise you. And then they have a value of 300. And then here we have the helmet. Now the headpieces they come in multiple different variants. They come in helmets, hooded helmets, and in just hoods. Here is what the normal helmet looks like. Armor rating of 14, weight of 4, value of 400. This is its look. It has a leather and metal design. Got this cool little horn thing here right in the middle. And then we do that. And next is the hood. And this is the hood without the helmet. So it only does 13 armor, only weighs 0.5, has a value of 300. It's a nice cool looking little hood going on here. And then we have the hooded helm, which incorporates both the helmet and the hood. Has an armor rating of 15, 4.5 weight, and a value of 450. And then as you can see here when we zoom in on it, it's basically just combining the looks of the two. All you can see of the helmet is the metal faceplate, but then here you can obviously see the entirety of the hood. And then up next, we're going to go with the Bosmer mask here. This is a separate piece of headgear. Only has a 3 armor rating, weight of 0.5, value of 218, and it gives you disease resistance by 50%. This is useful for if you're not actually playing a Wood Elf already, because Wood Elves have natural disease resistance. But if you aren't playing as one, then this will give you that disease resistance. Then here's the alternate version of it, Shadow Mask. I think it actually just looks exactly the same. But yeah, there's that. And here we have the shoulder cape, which goes on your back slot. So you can have this as well, or technically in the tail slot as it says there. but it does an armor of 4, weight 0.5, and a value of 400. Then here we have the full cape, which completely covers your back instead of just one side. Has an armor rating of 5, weight of 2, value of 400. Now, next, moving on to the next step up in the armor. This is going to be the heavy armor version that requires the advanced smithing perk to make. That is the Bosmer reinforced armor. Here you can see it looks a less distinctive look that makes it look different than the basic Bosmer, and that being that it has some metal lining around the leather plates instead of just being normal leather and cloth. But this is a heavy armor set. The chest piece has an armor rating of 41, a weight of 20, and a value of 1000. Boots look like basic Thieves Guild boots just like the other ones did, but they have an armor of 11, weight 5, and value of 50. Gauntlets actually have a different look to them as well, with an armor rating of 12, 6 weight, and 500 value. And as you can see, they kind of look similar to dragon scale gauntlets, I believe, only they're brown with the metal plating instead of looking like dragon bone stuff, obviously. And then here we have the normal helmet. It has this very, very distinctive look with the main tail coming out of the back and the 2 feathers here sprouting from either side of the helmet. But this does 17 armor rating, 6 weight, and 500 value. Then here we have the reinforced helmet, which just looks exactly the same. A reinforced hooded helm, which honestly just looks exactly the same as the Bosmer hooded helm. Only difference being is that it is heavy armor, not light. So as such, its stats are different. It has an armor rating of 19, weight of 6.5, and a value of 500. Now, last but not least, we're going to be moving on to the Bosmer Elder and the Bosmer Elder Shadow. Again, they're going to all be the same the same stats, just slightly different appearance. Again, gray and black instead of black and brown. But anyway, here we go. We're going to let's filter my results here so I get better look. So here we go with the basic Bosmer Elder armor. This is going to be a light set once again, and you need the glass smithing perk to make this. So the chest piece has a 43 armor rating, a weight of 8, and a value of 1500. Now this actually looks very similar to the basic Bosmer, with the exception of, as you can see along here, the Elder armor has some intricate looking carvings scratched into the leather there. So then here's the boots. The boots and actually look the same across all sets, honestly, but the Elder boots have a different stats. That is armor of 14, 1 weight, and 200 value. Here we have the gloves. They also have these little carvings etched into the leather to make them look like slightly different, so you can tell they're the Elder gloves. But they also have an armor of 14, a weight of 1.5, and a value of 300. And now we get into the multiple helmet variants, starting off with the basic helmet. Looks the same as the normal Bosmer helmet, but has different stats. Armor of 20, weight of 4, and a value of 550. Hood, again, same appearance, different stats. 16 armor, weight 5, value 0. Then the hooded helm has a 21 armor rating, weight of 4.5, and a value of 500. And then, of course, we're going to get into the shadow armor, where it's going to be same stats, but as you can see, has the black and gray design instead of just the normal black and brown. And also the other thing being is that, as you can see here, there is no Bosmer Elder, Bosmer Shadow hooded helm. There is only the Bosmer Elder Shadow hood. Don't know why they didn't make a hooded helm, but they just didn't. Here we have the Bosmer Elder stuff. The Bosmer Elder only has shoulder capes, not full capes, Both Shadow and normal Elder have an armor rating of 6, weight of 0.5, and value of 500. Here we go, and now I'm just going to go through and show you what they all look like equipped with the different helmets and whatnot. Let's put the weapons away so that it actually zooms in on my person. Oh yeah, let's also put on the cape here as well, Bosmer Elder shoulder cape. So here we go. This is what the Bosmer Elder armor looks like with just the standard helmet. You can see the etchings and leather if you zoom in real close on a cuirass. And then here on my back you can see the half cape that it comes with. And now if we search up real quick here, now we can look at the what just the hood looks like. I honestly really like the hood on this armor. In my opinion, it's one of my favorite hoods out of any armor. I don't know why, I just like the way it sits. But then anyway, here we have the last one, the Elder hooded helm. As you can see, it has the metal faceplate from the full helmet, and then the rest of it is just the hood. This is my favorite one to use, by the way, because I think that in design they just go very well together. And then now I will show you the Bosmer Elder Shadow set. So here it is. Okay, well, fun fact, guys. The Shadow hood apparently doesn't like Argonian models because clipping through my Argonian's head. I promise if you have something that's not an Argonian or a Khajiit, that won't happen. But honestly, as you can see, this is the black and gray variant. I honestly like this version much better. I think it looks very awesome. Again, this is variant of the Elder armor, so this will require you to have the glass smithing perk to make. So that's what this looks like here. And then next we'll move on to the basic Bosmer armor. So the basic Bosmer armor, I'll show you what it looks like with the full cape since we already did the half cape. There it is. It looks very similar to a Nightingale cape. And then this basically looks exactly the same as the Elder armor, minus the etchings and the leather. And that extends all the way to the helmet and the hooded helmets and whatnot. As you can see, looks the same as the Elder. But now we go into the reinforced armor. We'll put on the armor, boots, gauntlets, and start off with just the basic helmet. Here we go. As you can see, the reinforced one doesn't have its own special cape, so we'll just leave the full cape on. As you can see here, this has this very unique helmet design with tail coming off of it, the feathers on either side, the boot, and then you can see the chest plate and the gloves have that unique leather and metal design etched in, like woven in together. So that's the hooded helmet. I mean, that's just a normal helmet. And then here we have the hooded helmet, which once again looks exactly the same as the other hooded helmets. So if you wanted to get that full unique heavy armor look for the Bosmer stuff, I personally would go with just the normal helmet because it gives you the tail and the feathers. Otherwise, your hooded helmet just looks exactly the same. And then here we go. I suppose I'll show you the Shadow mask here, which is okay. The mask is okay. There we go. It's apparently the Shadow mask doesn't actually want to come up over my face, but there you go. This is the basic Bosmer mask. As you can see, it's one that just comes up over the face like that, and it should work with the hoods here, so you can make a really cool looking sneaky assassin type character with this mask and the rest of the Bosmer armor. So there you have it. That is the Bosmer armor and Bosmer Shadow armor. That is those 4 sets. So now moving on to the next set that can be crafted, we are going to take a look at the Hunter Archer armor, which, not to throw not to get thrown off when you craft it, it's actually only called the Archer armor, not Hunter Archer. And this requires you that you don't need any smithing perks to craft this. You can basically just load up the game, go up to a forge, craft this at any time. But this has two variants, as you can see here, the Archer and the Green Archer. I promise you it doesn't actually look like Thieves' Goat armor, that's just the model it uses for some reason in the inventory. But I will show you here what it all looks like. I'll put on. Hold on, let's take off this Bosmer stuff so we can get the full look at it. Here is the full set of the normal Archer armor. It's just a nice, like, kind of like rags type looking outfit. It has a hood that looks very similar to the Thieves Guild. The boots and the gloves. I actually like the glove design. Like if we go into first person here, let's equip a bow so you can actually see the gloves better. Yeah, they have that cool like leather wrapping type thing going on. And then the tunic just has that strap going across. It's a dagger slot on your hip there. All in all, it's just very simplistic armor. But I mean, it's good if you want to maybe play in survival mode and just role play as a hunter. But that's just the basic Archer armor. So now we're going to check out the... I'm still on weapons, my bad. So now we're going to check out the Green Archer, which has its own distinctive look. Hood looks the same actually, so the boots. Main difference being the gloves, as you can see here, are not actually gloves. It's just this leather strap around one of his wrists. And you can see the tunic, as it says, is green, and the belt across the chest does look slightly different. And then now we'll get into the stats of these armors. So the Green Archer, since I'm already wearing it, boots have an armor rating of 10, weight of 1.5, and a value of 250. The cuirass has 32, 7, and 650. The gloves are the same as the boots, with slightly less weight and value. And the hood has an armor of 14, weight of 1.5, and a value of 550. So all in all, it's a pretty decent set. I mean, there are obviously sets much better, but hey, it's not bad. And now we go over to the basic Archer stuff. I think the stats are the same. Yeah, the stats are the same across all of them, so it's really just up to you whether you like the Green Archer or normal Archer better. But once again, I'll just show you. Here is the full set of Green Archer. And then here is the full set of normal Archer. So again, like I said, stats are the same. It's just really up to your personal preference, whether you want a more leather binding, round type look, or a more like Legend of Zelda Link type look with the green variant. So that is all of the armors that you can craft. So now what I'm going to do is we're now going to move into the weapons that can be crafted, which I already showed you. All of the Bosmer weapons, the Hunter Archer armor doesn't have weapons that come with it, it's just the armor. But now what we're going to be moving into is the Bone Mold and Chitin weapon sets. Those include both a complete set of one-handed and two-handed, along with arrows and bows that go with them. This is a mod that all it does is just adds in the Bone Mold and Chitin weapons and arrows, and not only does it add them for you to craft, but it also adds them to the level lists, to the guards and whatnot on Solstheim once you get to Solstheim. So we're going to start off with the Bone Mold weapons. All of these weapons here, the Bone Mold ones, will require you to have at least the Steel Smithing perk, which is the first perk you can get in the smithing tree, so you can basically craft these almost as soon as you level up and put a point into smithing. But we're going to start this off here with the bone mold arrows, which do a damage of 11, have a weight of 0, and a value of 1. They have this really cool looking like bone and like horn type quiver with the unique brown striped feathers there at the end of the arrows. I personally love that design. I think it looks amazing. And now we're going to go here. We're just going to go down the list here, alphabetical order. So we have the two-handed bone mold battle axe. There's a damage of 20, a weight of 15, and a value of 80. As you can see here, it has the signature bone mold yellow-orangish look, along with the metal steel bits holding it together. I mean, it's not the coolest looking axe in my opinion, but it's pretty up there. And up next we have the bow, damage of 13, weight of 6, value of 120. Now this one I actually really like the design of. I like how it has the like 3-pronged claw look on the top and bottom of the shaft, right above the middle handle part. Has that orange string, and again just the bone and steel look to it. This is actually one of my favorite bow designs out of any weapon mod so far. Then we have here the bone mold dagger. For all of you sneaky types out there, does 27 damage, 3 weight, and a value of 16. Here we go. This is a pretty simplistic design, all things considered. Again, just a basic bone and metal design. And it's just a pretty straight, I mean, it's a dagger. What you can say about it, you know? And here we have the great sword, sporting a damage of 19, a weight of 13, and a value of 80. This design I actually really like. I like the slightly curved blade and handle, along with these spikes here that come out around where the blade and handle meet to act as a sort of hand guard. That design I really like. This is honestly overall a pretty sweet looking greatsword. Then we have the mace with 50 damage, 9 weight, and a value of 60. This is one of those maces that has like there's the 4 things going off here, and there's a pretty cool design of in between each of the fins. It has 2 spikes, so no matter what part of this mace you get hit with, it's definitely gonna hurt. Then up next we have the sword, which for some reason has a slightly different design than the greatsword. I thought it would have just been like the greatsword but smaller, but anyway, has a damage of 41, a weight of 5, and a value of 40. It looks kind of similar to the greatsword, again minus the spikes around there. Instead it just has this circular handguard instead of the spiky handguard. Next we have the one-handed axe, the war axe, with a damage of 45, a weight of 8, and a value of 45. This is, in my opinion, probably actually my favorite war axe design in the game. I don't know why, there's just something special about this. I think it looks pretty neat. And then finally, last but not least, we have the warhammer, or the two-handed mace, if you will. Honestly, I first saw it, I thought it was a crossbow, because the way this is shaped and that and whatnot, I thought that was a bolt, but it's not. This is in fact a two-handed hammer with a damage of 23, a weight of 20, and a value of 100. So that's all those weapons. My favorites out of all of them are the bow and the greatsword in terms of design. And then here I'll show you what they all look like. So here's the arrows. I already have the bow equipped, so that's what the arrows look like when they're on your quiver. Here's the bow in first person here. Honestly, those arrows look amazing. Like just a fully unique design. Love the orange string here on the bow. And then, yeah, there we go. I mean, it has a bit of a slow draw speed compared to the Bosmer stuff we reviewed, but what are you gonna do about that, right? Now let's just go through the rest of the weapons. Here we have the battle axe. It's a pretty pretty hefty looking thing, obviously. I mean, it's a two-handed axe, so not much done. So here we go. It's a handle. There it is. An attack animation has that. I mean, the design is kind of iffy in my opinion, but here we go. Got the dagger right here. That hand guard could be a little bit down lower, but other than that, I suppose it's not a bad looking dagger. Not my favorite design. I'd still go with my Bosma short blade over here. Here we have the great sword. Ooh, don't want to favorite it. The great sword here, my favorite design out of all of them. I mean, just look at that. That is such an amazing design with the spiky handle and just the curved blade. Everything works so well. All right, then we have the mace. You know what? I'll just put the sword in my other hand here, so you can get a good look at both of them. There's that mace, got the nice spiky bone look, and the sword, again, looking very similar to the great sword, with the difference of the circular handguard instead of the spiky handguard. But here's what they look like drawn in third person. Pretty fearsome looking fighter, if I do say so myself. So that's those, and then here we have the war axe. One of my favorite designs out of all of them. Like just just looks intimidating. The spike command on the back, the way that front part just looks. It's just a pretty, all in all, good looking weapon in my opinion. And then finally we have here the two-handed war hammer. That's a pretty bulky looking thing here. Kind of looks a little bit ridiculous if you ask me, but if you like warhammers and you like bone mold, well, here you go. So that's all that. Now up next we're going to review the other half of this weapon mod pack, which is the chitin armors, and sorry, not armors, it's just weapons. There's already chitin armor in the game, but it's going to be the chitin weapons. So let's start off with the arrows here. Damage of 17, weight of 0 obviously, and a value of 4. They have, and all the weapons in this pack have this cool looking like pinkish design to them, since obviously chitin is kind of like bug flesh, I guess you could say, bug armor flesh, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it has this cool pink design to it, which I think is interesting. Then up next we have the battle axe. Does a damage of 24, weight of 24 as well, and a value of 500. Now this looks interesting. It kind of looks like some sort of thing on like a horror movie or something. Got like the pink fleshy design mixed in with the metal, and I like how it has the metal part as the actual blade, whereas the chitin is actually just holding the blade together, because it makes sense that metal would be sharper than the shell of a bug. And then here we have the bow. Similar to the bone mold bow, it has this cool looking spikes coming out around the handle. And again, it has that pinkish design the rest of the bone mold chitin weapons do. This is a damage of 15, a weight of 13, and a value of 450. And here we have the dagger. I definitely like this dagger design better than the bone mold dagger. I like how it has a little spike handguard coming out from the bottom there. But for the stats, it does a damage of 41, which is pretty high for a dagger, a weight of 3, and a value of 50. Oh yeah, and this stuff is obviously doing more damage than the bone mold, as you can see. That's because I forgot to mention, the chitin stuff requires you to have the Elven smithing perk before you can even craft it. But once you have that, you can craft all this stuff at any forge you come across. And next you have the great sword. This is actually a slightly different coloration than some of the other things. As you can see, it has a more of a reddish orange tint instead of that standard pink that some of the other weapons had. Loving the spikes coming out of it, as usual. But this great sword is doing 23 damage, 13 weight, and a value of 500. Here we have the mace, which actually sort of combines both the pink and red design. I like, and this thing has alternating spikes coming out from the bottom and top of it, with this cool little leather hand wrapping at the bottom there. It comes in with a damage of 63, a weight of 17, and a value of 300. And then the sword, I think the sword design is actually pretty freaking cool in my opinion. I think it's actually shared by some other weapon mods, if I believe. Like if I don't remember which mod it is, but there's a mod that adds in like a Dreg armor and weapon set. I think this sword design here is what's actually used by the Dreg sword as well. But I don't blame them because this is actually a pretty sweet looking sword here. But for stats, it has 54 damage, 13 weight, and a value of 215. Here we have the War Axe. I personally like the Bone Mold War Axe in terms of appearance better, but this one is actually not too bad itself. Again, I like how it has the metal as the blade instead of the chitin. It's a pretty interesting little touch there, but it has a 59 damage output, a weight of 15, and value of 260. Then finally, the hammer. This thing honestly looks terrifying. It looks like someone shoved a bunch of giant monster teeth through a metal circle. This is like something purely out of a horror movie, but honestly, it's pretty cool, all things considered, not gonna lie though. But it has a damage of 26, not 16, my bad, a weight of 28, and a value of 550. So now let's pull this weapons out here, show you what they look like. There is what the arrows look like there in the quiver. And here is the bow when it gets drawn. I personally still like the bone mold look better, but this pinkish arrow, pinkish bow design with the metal, obviously is still pretty cool looking. And again, I'm not trying to bash the creators of these mods when I say I like something else better, because these are amazing 3D models. And don't get me wrong, they all look absolutely amazing. So I'm not bashing anyone, because this is amazing work. But anyway, let's look at the battle axe next, two-handed weapons. Here it is in first person. Give it a little block animation there. Here we are in third person. Looks pretty savage, if you ask me. Give it a few swings. Yeah, battle axe looks pretty neat, if you ask me. And up next we have the dagger. This is the one I definitely like. Like, look at that. That is a pretty sweet looking design. I honestly really like. That was the wrong swing. I honestly really like this look here. Again, I just really love spiky handguard and things like that. Then let's look at what the mace and sword look like. Mace, I really like just spikes. That just looks like you hit someone with that, you're gonna cause some damage. And then meanwhile, the sword over here, again, I really like the sword design. Only thing I would like possibly have to do different is have these little like fin things along the handle at the bottom of the blade. Maybe either curve upwards or just go straight out instead of coming down. But other than that, I actually really like this chitin sword. And up next, we'll take a look at the war axe here. It kind of like curves down. I mean, I suppose that would make it easier to use in combat, because you know, if you like, lots of times you're going to be swinging down or swinging over, but if that's already going down, you're more likely to hit them with the part of the blade than you would if it was swinging in a different direction. So yeah, honestly, I'd say that looks pretty neat actually. And then now we'll do the last of the two-handed weapons, which is going to be the greatsword and warhammer. Here's the greatsword. I really love this design actually. I love the reddish orange instead of the bright vibrant pink. I think it looks really cool. And again, I love the spiky handguard thing it's got going on there. It's just, that's my favorite design out of all the chitin weapons, I think. And then last but not least, the monstrous looking warhammer. Oh, and to make it even worse, the sharp pointy bit of the tooth looking things are what actually swings forward. Like, this is a warhammer, like, you get hit with this, you're going down. That is definitely for sure But yeah, now we got all of those reviewed. So that is all of the weapons and armors that can be crafted. Now comes the fun part because there are going to be now there's going to be some we have to actually go out into the world to find them and claim them for ourselves. So I'm just gonna do some real quick stuff here, and then I'll come back once we're in the area where we need to be in order to start off the little like mini quote unquote quest, you could say, to get the items that we're going to collect. Okay, so welcome back everybody. We are now outside the first of our stops out in the world. We are just outside this cave here, which if we look on the map is this one here. This is Shadow Green Cavern, which is just slightly, ever so slightly, to the northeast of the Thalmor Embassy. And inside this cave right here is where we are going to go inside to find the fifth and final set of the Bosmer armor. Now, this armor set is called the Wild Hunt armor, and it's going to be quite difficult to claim because the mod page on Nexus actually says you should probably be at least level 80, aka the same level you would need to be to fight the Ebony Warrior, to come here and try to claim this armor from this guy. Because what we're going to have to do to get this armor is fight the champion of the Bosmer Wild Hunt, and once we take him down, we can claim his armor for ourselves. So, let's get on into the cave here, and we're going to need to start heading up to the very top of this place here in order to claim the armor for ourselves. So we need to hold on, we just got some wolves here to deal with first. Trying to remember how to climb to the top of this place. Let's see, hop up here. I think we need to run around this way. Maybe, I could be wrong. Sorry guys, it may take me a minute to figure out how to get up there. No, I think it's gotta be over this way. Boy, it's very difficult to tell though because it's very dark. Okay, wait, here we go. Oh, hold on, there's a Spriggan. That needs to go down first. Make that a Spriggan and a bear, actually. Get you out of here. Alright, hold on guys. Sorry, I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to go get a candlelight spell real quick so that we can see in the dark here. Okay, there we go. That right there is much better. Now we can actually see where in the world we're going. So I think I need to hop up onto this log here. Maybe. Yep, there we go. Hop up onto the log. Oh, okay, never mind. This does not get me up and around. Okay, just keep going around this way then, I guess. Oh, lovely. We're gonna find more Spriggans. Luckily, they're not actually... Well, I say they're not actually very tough, but that was an Earth Mother. That's actually like the toughest variation of Spriggan. It's just not very tough to me because this is my mod review character, so his damage output and health are very high. And this once again just brought me around to the bottom of here, didn't it? Yep, it sure did. Okay, so I I gotta remember, how do I get up top of there? I genuinely don't know. There's gotta be a way for you to get up though. I know that. I'm just trying to remember how. So I remember it's like a long thing that you like walk up and around to get to the top. Oh boy. Alright, well, let's go back around the loop one more time, I guess. Let's see if we can't figure out how to get up. Oh, it was right here. I'm just blind, apparently. Okay, now we're on the path. That was a rock trap that could have just killed me. But anyway, now we're on the path to fighting the champion of the Wild Hunt and claiming his armor. Oh, there he is. He's over there. Okay. What am I using? Oh, I'm only using fast healing. No wonder it's not doing anything. Wow, okay. That's a matron. That's concerning. Wow, okay. Now I see why they said they recommend you to be 80. Because this dude is kind of tough.
By you.
He has friggin' matrons helping him.
It's nothing. Oh, no.
There we go.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. He almost just took me down there. That was a very intimidating fight. He had bears and friggin' matrons and earth mothers and everything all helping him. But yeah, here we go. This is what we came here to get. Wild Hunt armor, boots, gauntlets, and helmet. And here he is, champion of the Wild Hunts himself. He's a very old Bosmer, obviously, 'cause it's from the Bosmer armor pack. And then if we come over to the middle here, there'll also be some potions, and we can also pick up the light armor variant of the Wild Hunt set. Yeah, we're gonna choose to ignore that. Not doing Meridia's beacon here. Sorry. Here we go. I have a faded journal. I believe this belonged to the Wild Hunt guy. So as it's part of the mod, we'll go ahead and read through it. I feel as though I have awakened from an eternity of haze past. Flashbacks occur of floods of horrific shape-shifting beasts, tentacled toads, insects of armor and spine, gelatinous serpents, vaporous beings with the faces of gods, all pouring forth from the great hollow tree, blind with fury. Could I really have been one of these demonic beasts, let alone the sole survivor triumphing over all the rest? Not being able to grasp my full memory of the past, I now must look to the future in the service of the Fear, who has lifted my curse and raised me out of the darkness. This sanctuary, which has had its soils enriched by the blood and bones of the vanquished, shall become my shelter. I will protect its beauty from with all that dare taint its presence. I only hope that in doing so, the Free will continue to bless me with long life and the mercy of retaining this mer form. So yes, that was actually this fellow's diary. because and what he was referencing, if you don't know about the shape-shifting beasts and whatnot, is the Bosmer have something called the Wild Hunt, which is something that will happen when Bosmer are in times of great danger. Basically, they will all shapeshift into wild animals and gaining basically superpower strength and damage output, and go on a rampage. And finally, once all of the enemies are slain, they will then turn on each other and start eating each other. So what that guy meant about being the last survivor is that he was the only Bosmer left after the Wild Hunt was concluded, because after they were all done killing each other, he was in fact the only one left. You know what, while we're here in this cave, we'll take a look at the armor. I almost completely forgot about that. But here we have the heavy armor version. The Wild Hunt armor has an armor rating of 49, a weight of 40, and a value of 2,000. 19 armor for the boots, a weight of 8, and a value of 425. 19 armor, 8 weight, and 614 value for the gauntlets, along with an enchantment that allows you to do additional unarmed damage, if that's your thing. Then we have the Wild Hunt hooded helm, which does an armor of 24, a weight of 8, and a value of 1,000. Now we're going to put all this on so we can see what it looks like. And oh yeah, that is a pretty cool looking armor set right there. Spiky boots, the like skull breast faceplate on the helmet, the spike gauntlet thing right there with the bone shoulder pad. That's just pretty neat looking. Now if we unequip my sword here, you can see the gauntlet has the spikes there. That's probably what allows you to do the additional unarmed damage. Now this stuff, as mentioned before previously in the video, you can't smith it, so you don't need a perk for that. But you do, however, for improving it, need the dragon smithing perk, because this has the same stats as the dragon bone armor, which means for improving it, you use dragon bones. But that's the heavy version. Now let's put on the light version and then go over its stats. Wild Hunt Hood has an armor rating of 19, a weight of 4, and a value of 750. The armor itself has an armor of 47, a weight of 12, and value of 1,500. The boots are 16, 3, and 300. And the gauntlets, which also have spikes coming out of their fists, are 16, 3, and 300 as well. And then, sadly, the helmet here is just the hood. It doesn't have the really cool looking skull faceplate. The boots look almost the same. The body armor, however, is different. It doesn't have the bony shoulder pads. It has these smaller spiky ones. And then the gauntlets are slightly different, as you can see. We go into first person here. Just unequip all of my stuff. You will then see that each hand has spikes on the fists. However, for some reason, these gauntlets, despite having double spiked fists, don't do the additional unarmed damage enchantment that the heavy armor version does. In my opinion, the heavy armor version looks cooler, but me, most of the time, I run light armor characters, so if I use this armor set, this right here is what I always wind up wearing. It is, however, not what I'm going to keep wearing, because I am going to switch back to my chitin armor here to, you know, go well with the theme of this video. I was reviewing chitin weapons. But yeah, that's the Wild Hunt. That is the Wild Hunt Bosmer armor. So that's the final part of the armor set for the Bosmer part of the video. And now we're going to head back out into the world for the final part of the video, which is where, well, you'll see what it is once we get there. But in order to kick it off, we need to head over to the eastern part of the world and come to here, this area here on the far eastern border of Skyrim, known as Trader's Post. Once we get here, there may or may not be some bandits waiting for us, because I'm not sure if I cleared this place out or not before. Let's just go on inside and check.
Now ain't this a
Yep,
surprise?
there's bandits. Oh, my sword is out of charge. I just realized that. Ah, no, not drop. Don't mind me, bandits. I'm just having technical difficulty. Ow, ow, he's hitting me.
Fast time to get lost.
Get out of here. Thank you for the soul. Ow. Ah, you're the chief. No wonder you're proving to be a little bit more difficult. Come here, buddy. Stagger. Whack. 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 And down he goes. Take that gold off of you. Oh, he had a health absorption sword. Health absorption sword. No wonder he was so tough. But anyway, after you take care of those bandits, what we want to be looking for is this guy right here in the bone mold armor. This is Tavel Drathy. If we go into his inventory here, we will find that, well, he's running all full bone mold. It's part of the Veteran Guard. But we'll also find that he has, more importantly, a key and Tavel's orders. Now, if we come here, read this. Tavel, your orders for this one are unusual. Head to the border with the sample chest and present it to the Nord King, Ulfric. Don't tell anyone about this, it'll be the death of the store. I hate having to turn to the snowmen, but unlike our own house, they at least pay in gold. Come home safe, cousin. Signed, Murtisi. Obviously, sadly, as you can see here, his cousin is not going to be coming home safe. But what he means by chest is, if we come into here, this chest here is where we will find another set of bone mold weapons. Got arrows, and this has every single version. One-handed, two-handed weapons, shields, bows, you name it. It has it here. So we're just gonna pop a candlelight, and then we'll go over these weapons here. So the basic arrows here, this version of the bone mold arrows. Okay, I'm gonna clarify the difference between this bone mold set and the other bone mold set. The other bone mold set was just made by an independent modder who wanted to make some chitin and bone mold weapons to go with the armors and whatnot. This bone mold set, however, is from a larger modding team. It's actually from the Beyond Skyrim team. This is a standalone bone mold weapon set that was released to promote Morrowind's 20th anniversary. But this bone mold set is actually one that we will see in the upcoming mod Beyond Skyrim Morrowind. So this is actually pretty neat. It's a nice little cool thing to look forward to. A little sample of what we'll see in that mod. Here we have the basic arrows. They do 10 damage, value 3, weight of 0, obviously. Now this has the quiver design. I think this looks cooler than the other quiver design, but that's what that looks like. And then here we have let's go over the battle axe first here. A damage of 19, a weight of 21, and a value of 100. Here we have a nice zoomed in view of it. I honestly like these bone mold weapon designs a lot better than the other bone mold weapon designs, but that's just my personal preference. Again, the other ones looked great, but these ones are just much cooler looking in my opinion, except for the bow. I like the design of the other bow better, because this bow looks a little bit wonky, if you ask me. But you know, I mean, it still looks cool though. But anyway, it has a 23 damage, a weight of 12, and a value of 240. And here we have the club, aka the two-handed. Oh no, that's not the two-handed one. Oh, this is technically the battle axe. Actually, my bad. It's just called a club. This is actually what would be considered the battle axe, but it does a 19 damage, 22 weight, and 20 value. This is something that you could knock someone out with or impale them with, whatever is up to you. Here we have the daggers. I think these daggers look pretty cool. Like they're like a curved Chris type blade. Pretty neat looking, not gonna lie. But we back out of here. They do 38 damage, a weight of 2.5, and a value of 18. Then we have the great sword here, 18 damage, 17 weight, 90 value. Again, pretty cool design. Love those spike handguard and spike thing on the bottom, near the bottom of the blade. Up next we have the maces, which in my opinion this is what should have been called the clubs, because look at that, that's a one-handed club. But anyway, it does a damage of 90, weight of 14, and a value of 100. And let's get a closer look at it. It's got this steel ball right there. The rest of it's made from bone mold. We have the sword, which this is honestly one of the coolest looking sword designs, in my opinion. I mean, not that I'd expect anything less. It is from a massive mod team. Again, it's from the Beyond Skyrim team, as I said. That's what it looks like there. There's a damage of 60, weight of 10, value of 45. Here we have the one-handed axe, damage of 68, weight of 12, value of 55. I like this cool little curved design with the carvings in the blade there. Kind of reminds me of like a scythe in a sort of way. And then last but not least, the two-handed hammer, 22 damage, 25 weight, and 110 value. Here's what it looks like. It has a steel ball up there, held in by a bone mold casing and bone mold shaft here. That's what that all looks like. Now let's see what they all look like pulled out and in action. Here is the two-handed axe. Looks pretty dang cool if you ask me. Here's the bow. Gotta go in the first person to get a better look at that. And if you're noticing, see how that's actually only up to about halfway of the screen? That's because this was designed to be more like a bone mold short bow. Very similar to ones that we actually see in the Morrowind game. So there we go, and as such, it actually even has a faster firing rate than the normal bows that you would find in the game do. You can even see when it's on the back, it's a little bit shorter. And also here's what the arrows look like in the quiver, like that. Alright, but let's pull out the club, warhammer. There we go, got that big old intimidating spike right there. Give it a few swings. Warhammer. Alright, and now let's go with the dagger and the mace at the same time. Like I said, the dagger has this cool looking curved blade, crisp design. You got the one-handed club over here, ready to just clobber people with. Then we'll go to the sword and the war axe. War axe again has that cool looking curved thing. Bone mold sword. Bone mold sword looks like this. Here we go. It's going third person. Pretty freaking cool looking, honestly, if I do say so myself. And then let's not forget about the greatsword. Here it is in all of its glory, with its cool little spiky things going on. Give it a few swings. First person view. And last but not least, the warhammer, which honestly is basically just a giant staff with a ball on the end of it, but it's still a pretty cool looking weapon. It's a first person blocking view. So yeah, that's that. I think I actually found my new sword that I want to use, because I actually like the bone mold sword so much that I think I'm going to switch to this instead of my Nordic sword. Hi guys, this is actually kind of embarrassing for me a little bit, but I completely forgot about these here. That second bone mold mod also came with three different shields I forgot to review. So let's do that real quick. Just forget about the fact that there is an outro. Actually, you know what? I think I'll just cut the outro out But anyway, so yeah, you're seeing me back here in this room because I teleported back here because I did an outro. And because I forgot there were these shields. So I teleported back to my cheat room here. Remember that there were shields. But anyway, okay, here's the final part of the bone mold thing. Comes with 3 shields, painted, a round, and a normal shield. Let's start off with the normal shield here. Looks like this in first person. Go into third person. That's what it looks like. Pretty generic looking cool bone mold shield there. The stats on it, along with the painted, because they're the same shield. It gives 47 armor, 12 weight, and a value of 120. So that's that version. Then here is the painted version. Has these cool looking designs on it. So that's that. And the second shield is the round shield, which actually does more armor. It gives you 58 armor, has a weight of 13, and a value of 150. So let's equip it, see what it looks like. Here it is in first person. I love the carving looking design right there. Then third person, I like that. That's like nostalgic of classic Morrowind, because that's how the bone mold shields looked in Morrowind. That's a pretty cool looking shield though. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. But anyway, there we go. Now we have finally completed the mod review. Now that I have remembered that there were those 3 shields. So now, if you liked the video, make sure you hit like, maybe even subscribe if you're feeling generous. And I think in the next mod review video, we're going to be reviewing something that could be very useful in survival mode, so that you don't ever go hungry. But that'll be next time. So in the meantime, thank you everyone so much for watching. I am Captain Canada, and this has been the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Weapon and Armor mod reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.